Our argument is whether or not full contact should kids under the age of 18 be allowed to play full contact sports, and we are currently against the topic.
All right, our first thing against it, I guess, is CTE. CTE is damaging, like basically just damage against the brain, and it occurs after like months to years of repeated head trauma. So basically like a contact sport like football, basketball, maybe basketball, boxing, and even hockey can do it. Symptoms of the CTE range anywhere from changes in mood, like anxiety, aggression, to even memory loss. And then in severe cases of CTE, suicide is even apparent there. Because like in February of 2011, a former NFL player, he was age 50, he sent a text to his family and requested that his brain be sent to Boston University of Medicine for research for CTE, and then he killed himself. And it's not only the older veterans that have committed suicide and killed themselves either, because there was a Penn State football player by the name of Owen Thomas that committed suicide at the age of 21. And the typical brain of someone who has CTE has reduced volume, mainly in the frontal and temporal lobes, a reduced blood flow to the brain, atrophy to the brain, which is basically just the brain I don't know the word, but whatever. It's just like going away inside of there, to the amygdala and hippocampus. And these are all things that are associated with Alzheimer's too. So
Point 2 is the social cognitive theory. According to social cognitive theory, a person who has the mental model of a goal to work towards is motivated. At each point, the person compares his or her current situation with the mental model. The difference between the two provides motivation until the goal is reached. As long as there is a difference, the motivation remains. And in my case, if a player is injured during a sport, he or she may lose that motivation. So, for example, there was a Denver football player who was found dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound in September 2010. He committed this act because he lost the motivation to continue after finding out he would be sidelined due to a knee injury. Other athletes, such as Wade Bellick, who played hockey, committed suicide after an injury that would put him out for the rest of his career. Shane Dornett played football, and he had a brain tumor and realized he would be very limited for the rest of his career, so he committed suicide. Terry Long had brain injuries in the NFL, which later led to suicide. So those are all examples of lack of motivation causing self-inflicted harm.
Another topic is cost, and the cost of sports, like for kids under 18, is getting to be expensive because the families have to buy the equipment rather than like the school sometimes providing. So the parents lose on average $671 to cover the cost of the equipment for their children, like in uniforms and gas and food and hotels. And then 1 in 5 parents spend over $1,000. And like it was saying that the sports are no longer for like excellent opportunity. It's more for like a social involvement. And so sometimes it's not like all worth it, like spending money because your kid is kind of there for the social reason. And this can cause families to have stress because maybe they're not making enough money in order to pay for everything, but they want their kids to be involved, so they're still going to have their kids involved, which is going to cause family issues because parents are going to start fighting over money, and then it's just going to be a big deal. And then schools are also asking for money for sports, like for gear, and then which is also causing families to stress about money and all that kind of stuff.
These are reasons why full contact sports should not be allowed to be played under the age of 18.